Steady as she goes. That's the call for this morning. The markets are reasonably steady in global markets. That is, no big shakes, and that's actually may not be a bad thing. So let's take stock of the global news flow first. US and Philippines have followed Taiwan drills with the biggest exercises done yet. So the tension around the Taiwan Strait continues between US and China. I use that term specifically. I mean, the other participants, of course, Taiwan is at the center stage of all of this, but it's essentially the stress between US and China because those are the two superpowers. Oil has held on to its losses as the stronger US dollar and the slowdown concerns weigh in on. Fear of sugar shortfall in 2024 drives futures up for the 10th straight day. Sugar prices are rising. The Indian mills have not been given the chance to export, but just laying it out that sugar prices are higher. And Asian stocks have climbed after Wall Street eked out minor gains for itself in the session yesterday. So the US markets will come up on your screen first. And as you can see, just about flattish moves, but actually a day of recovery, if you will, for the US markets. The other cues are steady, so really won't matter too much per se. There's hardly any change in any of the other cues per se. And the SGX Nifty 2 is actually showing hardly any change. It's flattish, 0.21%. Yeah, it's just about it, just about those levels. No big changes there. Now, what does this imply for our markets? Well, I think the underlying momentum is strong. The FI is net bought yet again, seventh straight day. They've decreased the net short positions in index futures by about 21,000 contracts, which is a positive. The highest call OI, though, is that while it's at 18,000 strike, which is the 194,000 contracts, but it's followed by 17,700. So this 17,600 to 17,700 is proving to be a resistance. And the markets may well spend some time here, if you will, maybe in a sideways move, but the broader markets, individual pockets will consolidate or do better, as is the case with real estate, right? The markets have been in a period of consolidation for the last couple of days, but real estate stocks have had a fabulous move. Yesterday, it was the best performing index, up 4.5%. And don't get deceived by the market. Autos, too, were up about 1.5%. So selectively, pockets are doing okay. Real estate might also take a breather. It's had a really good two sessions. It might take a bit of a breather, but very likely that interest in that theme will continue. Keep in mind, viewers, as I said, I think on Wednesday, that the problem for real estate stocks was that despite the fundamental performances doing okay, the sentiment around the sector was lower because of the higher interest rates. Now that the sentiment has a chance to turn, and with the fundamental performances continuing, you might see a bit of a mean reversion for some of these real estate stocks. Now, please don't, yeah, please remember, there are messages floating around that Godrej Properties was at 2,800 or whatever the price it was, and it's come down to 1,200, and therefore indication that, oh, maybe it goes back to those levels. I have no idea if it does. I mean, it might be difficult really to do that too. There's a bit of a real estate frenzy then for Godrej Properties in particular as well. I'm not suggesting one way or the other that these stocks go back to those levels. I mean, DLF is just a stone's throw away. I think 450 or thereabout is its all-time high. So you could argue that some of those stocks, Oberoi, DLF, maybe some of the others have a chance to do that. But does necessarily mean that everything which is halved or whatever will recoup all of those losses? Maybe not, but there is strength. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Results season officially kicks off today, though we've had quarterly updates, but the official reportage of results with Delta Corp starting today, and therefore do watch out for that. Interesting set of numbers, I think, and a conversation with them maybe tomorrow, if they are talking on what the new gaming regulations also mean, would be interesting. So do watch out for Delta Corp in the earnings today. Keep in mind that if you look at it sequentially, it may not look as strong a quarter, simply because the October to December quarter with festive season, with Christmas and Goa, would probably be the strongest quarter, I would reckon. But let's wait and watch. I'm happy to be proven wrong. What about stocks to watch in the session today? So viewers, keep in mind, before I get to the numbers, there's a stock that I haven't given graphics for, keep in mind, but Kotak Bank, the March 23 quarter shareholding was out, and the FPI room is about 25%, and therefore there could be a weight uptick in MSCI May 23 review, which could lead to potential inflows of about $750 million in a May 23 review. Now, the brokerage note that I have suggests that the announcement will come with May 23 2023 rebalancing, that is 12th May, and the flows will come into 31st May. But will the markets maybe discount it today? Who knows? So Kotak Bank could well be the stock to watch. So I haven't given graphics for it, but that might well be the stock to watch. So do watch out for that. Then Bank of Baroda, strong quarterly update, I thought. Advances about 19 odd percent higher. Deposits climbed about 15% to about 12 lakh crores. CASA increased about 8% as well, which was actually not a bad thing too. So, I mean, net, this quarterly update from Bob was okay. Bank will, of course, raise the lending rates for overnight and 1 year loans by about 5 basis points as well. But the business growth was good. Advances and deposits continue to grow. Yes, there's a bit of a lag between credit growth and deposit growth, but that's to be anticipated. I don't think that really alters. And the good part for Bob was that CASA actually grew at a good pace. Now the CASA ratio is now at 42 odd percent, if I'm not wrong. So therefore, strong quarterly update from Bob, and could well be the other banking stock to react today. So you have a private bank and a PSU bank, both of which have a bit of a tailwind. Watch out for the banking space today. Star Health and Allied Insurance Company, the business update, gross direct premium about 13 odd percent higher, health premium increased 18%. um, Personal accident premiums jumped up as well. That, the group premiums that keep on declining for Star Health, I think they've said that it's a conscious call taken by them because it's not a very profitable business. So they were very large in that. If you are a corporate, then you would remember that at some point of time, either your or your friend's corporate was served by Star Health. Now they're decreasing that rapidly in order to focus on profitability. But I mean, not a bad quarter, if you will. Just about standard par for the course. Just thought we'll bring it out to you. Cipla has signed an agreement with Novartis Pharma to manufacture and market Galvus, which is a drug used in treatment of type 2 diabetes. Well, pharma has actually gained a lot of traction the last few days. Yesterday, for example, the pharma was active. So, well, that's an interesting one to monitor. Cipla today. Remember, pharma is finding selective traction for sure. Last I checked yesterday, Aurobindo Pharma in the last 10 days, or maybe slightly longer, has gained quite significantly from the lows. So, a bunch of pharma names zooming up. Watch out selectively out there. Kalpataru Power Transmission, it secured new orders and notification of awards worth 3,079 crores during March until date in April. So in about 40 odd days, order wins of about 3,000 odd crores, some of which might have gotten declared as well, but now they're presenting a cumulative picture. Not bad. A lot of people are constructive on power transmission, power equipment, infrastructure equipment, so on and so forth. Be interesting to talk to them if they post the quarterly numbers about uh, how does the execution pipeline look like for a stock like Kalpataru Power. Remember, KEC was on a barrage of order winning spree uh, in the month of March. So not surprised that Kalpataru Power 2 has gotten some large order flows. IRB infrastructure developers gave out some updates about the toll collection for the private InvIT as well as the trust, and decent numbers out there on the toll collection front. Again, shouldn't surprise. A few days ago, uh, the e-way numbers for the month of March had come out, and I think it was the highest ever and a very sharp growth as well. So these toll collection numbers shouldn't surprise. Neogen. Now the board approved signing an agreement with Japan-based MU Ionic Solutions Corporation to acquire manufacturing technology license for electrolytes in India. So remember yesterday I was mentioning about how there is possibility of some bit of news flow in Neogen Chemicals because there was a press conference that the company had held yesterday, and there was anticipation of some announcement. It is bromine technology and EV battery technology, chemical supplies. They're right up there. So maybe something around that was anticipated as well. It's come out. Um, I'm not quite able to figure out how big an announcement it is. I think, if I'm not wrong, there is an interview done by my colleague Vikas on Neogen, which will play out at 10:35 a.m. today. So that will give us an idea of what this would mean for Neogen Chemicals. The stock has rallied already, so be careful if you're buying it on this one. It may well be good. I confess that I don't have an exact idea, numbers idea about what this would mean for the company. So be careful if you're trading this one. That's the limited point I'm making. Sugar. Now, this is deceptive. Why I'm saying so? Because One, of course, the fear of sugar shortfall has driven 2024 futures up for the 10th day, but because of food security, I think Indian government has said that we're very selective, if at all, in allowing sugar companies to export sugar outside. Now, does this have any bearing though on domestic sugar prices? Could well do, right? And therefore, ethanol has anyways been strong, but this gives a bit of a leg up maybe to the sugar side of the business as well, which was not bad, but this gives a leg up. And therefore, I reckon that this should be positive. But keep in mind that, I mean, 3 days ago, it was the seventh straight day of sugar prices moving up, which was also a positive. Even more positive, the companies might have baked in some bit of gains. So look at the trajectory the last few days before you try and jump onto the bandwagon. But this is good news, yes, for sugar companies. Liquid stocks, which are trading above the 200-day moving average, important to highlight them. So a bunch of stocks must be doing that, but these are the liquid names, the FNO names, and therefore important to highlight because the trading activity usually in these could be higher per se. Uh, and you know, just watch out for some of these names. Oberoi Realty, no doubt, fits in there because a bunch of real estate stocks have done. In fact, Oberoi, if anything, has not rallied as much as some of the others like Godrej Properties or Oberoi or DLF or some of the others. But watch out for some of these names could be active in the next few sessions because they've crossed the 200-day moving average from below yesterday, and therefore there's a bit of a technical indicator there. And speaking of technical indicators and recommendations, MK Alternative has a call on REC. They have a buy rating trading call with a target price of 128.5 and a stop loss at 114. They say that it's breaching its 20-day moving average yesterday, and anyways trading above the 200-day moving average, which was 107.4. They have seen the stock witnessing some long build up on Monday, which was yesterday, a price uptick of 4.8%, OI uptick of 4.3%, and the front month futures basis expanding from 20 basis points to 47 basis points indicates heavy buying in the derivatives segment, which leads them to give a target of 128.5. Now, please do your own due diligence before you try and trade into any of these names. But I just thought it was a note that is coming from a reputed house from a trading call perspective. Just thought we'll add a bit of a flavor out there. Just before we wrap up, though, I'm just trying to see if there is anything on a brokerage side, uh, if or in terms of a brokerage note. So we've spoken about Bob, so that is obviously to be kept in mind. Uh, yeah, well, Morgan Stanley says that Indigo might have a good quarter, so do watch out. They have an overweight rating on Interglobe Aviation with a price target of 2925. And there is an update on JSW Steel production update that has come in. So that is to be watched out for as well. The total consolidated India business crude steel production was up 5% QOQ, 12% YOY. Utilization was 96%, and production is okay. The interesting piece would be what the dispatches and the numbers eventually have looked like. Let's wait and watch. Let's wait for the numbers to come out. And yep, uh, that's the long and short of uh, the trade setup today, at least. Wish you all a great trading session today. Have a good one and a bunch of interesting conversations, of course. 10 a.m. Canara Rebeco Mutual Funds head of equity Sri Datta would be speaking to us. So that would be an interesting conversation. We also have Samiran Chakrabarti. Okay, earnings preview with Motilal Oswal's Gautam Dugar. Sorry, excuse me for that. So that's at 12 p.m. And right at the cusp of earnings season, I think it's important to do that. And the SkyMet's projection, right? Yeah, you've heard SkyMet. I thought it was important to get in an economist view on unseasonal rains, unseasonal weather, and now lower rains. What does all of this mean for inflationary pressures in India? So Samiran Chakrabarti would be joining in at 2:45 to talk about that. So that could be an interesting conversation as well. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup. Have a great day ahead.